Kia ora, I'm Miriam Makamo. Vitamin C for a cold? Sure. But for cancer? Well, to doctors, Anton Kuraya is something of a miracle. Riddled with cancer, he was expected to live only a few more weeks. And yet, a year on, this father of three is literally running and jumping. Anton largely credits a highly controversial treatment, vitamin C. And surprisingly, groundbreaking research here in New Zealand indicates that science may actually back his belief. This from Ian Sinclair.
I got the shock of my life when they looked at me and said, Anton, there's nothing more that we can do for you.
Constable Anton Kuraya lays out the uniform he loves. The one he expected to be buried in.
Acute myeloid leukemia, cancer of the blood, and without treatment, they say, you would die within 8 weeks.
Every year, cancer kills more than 8,000 Kiwis. Now, that works out to be around 20 people a day who die from this disease. One of them was meant to be Anton Kuraya. But Anton had a surprise in store, one that astonished his friends, his family, his doctors, most of all, himself.
Look at Anton today, and it's hard to believe he was supposed to be dead more than a year ago. And yet it was while trying to outrun a suspect in his hometown of Kamo near Whangarei that he got the first warning.
And I think I only managed about maybe 10, 15, 20 metres, and I was out of energy, absolutely out of energy. And the guy disappeared, and that was the end of the chase.
When he was finally diagnosed, and then, you know, they said leukemia, and immediately thought back, well, these are the symptoms.
They tried chemo to no avail.
How did they put it to you?
You know, sorry, Anton. The initial chemotherapy that we used for you just hasn't really done much for you. The cancer is kind of behaving like, what was it, an aggressive teenager?
Yeah, it wasn't doing what it was told. And so when he did arrive home, and he told me, just literally everything went black, everything collapsed.
It would be devastating news for their 3 young sons.
We didn't tell them that day that he came home. It was just too hard to do.
But they would have to be told they would lose their dad in 4 to 8 weeks.
It was, I mean, I've heard people crying before, but this was absolute howling.
Yeah.
And for anyone who has kids and you're in that sort of situation, I mean, it's just howling, and just continuous.
Then there was his second family, the fourth.
The only thing that I was really concerned about at the time, because I was thinking about my funeral, was whether or not I could be buried in my uniform. I didn't have to say too much at all. You know, all I got was a hug and a pat on the back and just, you know, everything's going to be fine, Anton. Don't you worry about it. Even after you leave, you know, we'll look after your family. And that's all I really wanted to hear.
True to their word, fellow officers at his station in Kamo rallied around him.
They did fun runs. They made over $10,000, $12,000 for me.
When he got sent home from Auckland Hospital, they said he was palliative. He had 2 or 3 weeks to live.
Dr. Andrew Miller, not just Anton's GP, but a mate who took it hard.
The description of his bone marrow when they took it out was it was just jelly, and 60% of the jelly was cancer cells. And they'd done everything they could, given all the treatments they could, and just said, this is it, we've done all we can do, and go home and get your affairs in order.
But everyone reckoned without a treatment, often dismissed as quackery.
Well, it was my big boy that came back from school one day and had a bit of a chat with a mate of his.
The news that infusions of high levels of vitamin C just might help him.
He just said, What have we got to lose? Let's give this a go.
I was nervous. I don't like needles anyway. My veins had pretty much shrunk up because of the chemotherapy, so that was going to be a struggle just finding the vein. But we did.
It was a long shot. Remission was known to occur in only a small percentage of vitamin C patients.
We didn't really care about no cure or anything like that, or complete recovery or whatever. It was just trying to get some extra time.
When did you start to see a difference, Louise?
Immediately. Honestly, it was immediately. Once he started the vitamin C, at the same time, of course, we overhauled the diet.
A diet also heavy on vitamin C.
This is already common sense, isn't it?
Oh, I think tons more people have probably got a better idea of how to juice it.
Think it could have saved your life?
Part of the plan.
The question, was that plan of diet and vitamin C infusion working? Just 10 weeks after being sent home to die, doctors took another bone marrow biopsy. To their astonishment, pale cancerous cells were replaced by regenerated bone marrow.
His blood tests are completely normal. You wouldn't know there's anything wrong with them. I mean, that's, unbelievable that occurred.
Now, Anton's pretty convinced that it was all down to the vitamin C. What's your take on that?
I couldn't be sure. He'd done at the same time the end of his chemotherapy. He had introduced vitamin C. He'd radically changed his diet in terms of juicing up everything, and he'd come home to be surrounded by his friends and family. So there was a whole lot of stuff that actually happened. If there was a clear-cut correlation between the vitamin C improving his survival, and that was part of the equation, then yeah, I'd love to know.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
It's a recovery that's left Anton himself relieved, but still puzzled.
Are you seriously advising, cancer patients to give up their regular treatment for food?
No way. No way. It's an option that they could consider to add to what they're doing.
Next up, so could vitamin C be a weapon in the fight against cancer?
He's not alone in seeing a dramatic effect.
A Kiwi scientist reveals her groundbreaking research.
So what's stopping you?
We need $1 million.